Jai Shri Ram. Condide or Candide. In English, you are likely to pronounce it Candide because the spelling is Candide. It means optimism and it means this is the best of all possible worlds. Actually, this is a short novel written in 1759. You must read it. It is a fantastic satirical work of the Enlightenment period, the intellectual and rational movement that swept Europe from roughly 1650 to 1800. And Candide or Condido, that is how the French are pronounced, Candide, written by Voltaire. Voltaire. In Candide, he skewers organized religion, the aristocracy, and the ideas of several Enlightenment philosophers. Skewer, skewer. So, skewer, Skewer. Skewer means to ridicule very sharply. A skewer also is a metal rod on which chicken tikka, mutton tikka, and all this tandoori chicken, the meat is stuck or fastened to it, and then it is cooked in a tandoor or roasted. So, that is one meaning. But skewering also means ridicule very sharply and very effectively. That is why I like this book, Candide. Skewers organized religion. Organized religion means, you know what? There is a church. Now the word church has two meanings. Church means organized religion. Church means a Christian shrine. Now the word organized religion basically means there is an institution like the Vatican is there. And you have this, for Muslims they have the Saudi. For Sunnis they have that, and for Shias they have another one. So an organized religion means there is an institution and there is a head of the institution who is referred to as the pontiff, Pontiff, or Pope, 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 and there are a set of rules that you must follow. Initiation rites are there. When you join the church, you have to follow certain rules. Initiation rites. Initiation means when you are taking membership. A rite, R-I-T-E, rite means a ritual. So organized religion basically would mean that you are a member of a particular cult, C-U-L-T. Now the word cult has a negative connotation. Cult means actually a secret group with a charismatic leader and initiation rites. Of course, these, there are many religions which are major religions which started off as cults, but today they are no longer secret. We all know these cults are there. There is an organization and you are expected to show blind faith, blind obedience. Questioning is punishable with death, capital punishment. Their holy book itself says so. So I don't want to rattle off the sections now because I don't want to display my knowledge and then put my neck to risk. So this is what church is about, organized religion. So these organized, now Christianity has a central church. Okay, of course within Christianity there are more than 40,000 denominations and each of them have their own church. And within Islam there are 72 churches. Again, members subscribing to this particular church in Islam have to follow whatever their leader says. Now whereas in Hinduism we do have some churches. That means Shankar Math is there, Sampradayas. You see, the Sampradaya is a word which comes closest to a church. But in Hindu Sampradayas, we are not dogmatic and extremist, and there's no question of any capital punishment. If somebody questions, he is not going to be put to death. He might be at best asked to get out. So you can leave. But there are many Hindus. You see, we use the word smarthas, no, Shaivites, Vaishnavites. In Hinduism also I have no idea how many tens of thousands of, in fact lakhs may be there. I consider myself a sect. I am not a follower of anything. I follow Krishna and Rama, but I have my own interpretation of whatever Krishna and Rama said, and I consider myself a sect. I am a denomination. I am not just an individual. So that's my arrogance speaking. Yes, it is. I like to be arrogant because that's fundamentally our nature. Be arrogant, be dharmic, but be arrogant. To hell with all these rules. Breaking rules, we must know when to break rules. Yeah, we must also know when to follow rules. But many idiots think that following rules is the biggest rule. This is the problem with many people. So organized religion, Hinduism, we don't have a central church. We have many churches, but the vast majority of Hindus do not subscribe to any church at all. So that is the freedom that Sanatan Dharma gives you, right? You have a direct hotline with your Ishta Devata, whether it is Rama, Krishna, Subramanyam, Devi, Ganapati, Shiva, Kartikeya, Shanmata Sthapanacharya, Shankaracharya. He has established 6 churches actually. So you can subscribe to all of them. In fact, you can create your own one also, no problem, as long as you live dharmically. Okay, so that is about organized religion. Candide, this is something you must read because Voltaire ripped these rascals apart. In fact, Voltaire was hated by the church, the Christian church. So the word church actually also means a Christian shrine. So, in fact, some time back, I was a participant in a group discussion in ISB long back. The topic was organized religion is by nature political, and I was expected to talk against it. But I think organized religion is by nature political. That is true, because you see, you will find in these churches and madrasas and all that, the Islamic, they openly tell their followers whom to vote for, right? So it's all political. The size and the membership volume of membership gives them a political clout, and they are able to sway the elections, and that is why politicians are busy appeasing them, pampering them. So this is a problem. Unless we Hindus vote en bloc, we will lose our power. In spite of being the majority, we are worse than the worst minority. We are third class citizens in our own country because we have not organized ourselves. We got to find a way. We cannot, a Hindu cannot blindly follow rules. So we have to find some clever solution to get organized and make sure that Modi remains in power. And next after Modi, it should be Yogi. So Candide skewers organized religion, the aristocracy, and the ideas of many Enlightenment philosophers. You see, Leibniz and many Enlightenment philosophers were talking about optimism. We should always consider everything as very good. And this is the best of all possible worlds, and everything happens for our own good. This kind of pappy stuff, Voltaire ripped them apart. I'm afraid many Hindus also think like that. They say सब कुछ ईश्वर के इच्छा से ही होता है, एक पत्ता नहीं हिलता. And you see, Tulsidas also famously said, of course I have no problem with that, I fully subscribe to that, but I also believe in being practical. See, Tulsidas said, हो यही सोही जो राम रचि राखा, हो यही सोही जो राम रचि राखा, को करे तर्क को करी तर्क बढ़ावे शाखा. That means whatever Rama decides only will happen, will come to pass. And what is the point trying to explain to some people who don't understand this? So where is the need? And it's a waste of time trying to go on explaining in great detail to unbelievers. The truth is, whatever Rama wills only will happen in this world. I fully subscribe to this. But I also understand that when crimes are being committed in our presence, Rama is expecting us to fight. Okay? That is why we have Manyu Suktam in the Vedas. Manyu Suktam. Manyu is good anger, righteous indignation, justified anger. The prayer Manyu, Tapasa Manyu Rishi. The Rishi is actually praying to God to give him the capacity, strength of mind to be able to fight against adharma. Of course, Manyu Suktam has other applications. Of course, there is a superstition that if you are embroiled in a court case, if you continuously chant Manyu Suktam, you will win the court case. I do not know to what extent that is true, but Manyu Suktam is basically trying to, it's a prayer to empower us mentally, psychologically, become very resilient and strong. And Manyu can also mean righteous anger, justified anger. So if you are not getting angry when, let us say, a rape or murder or some crime is taking place, then there is something seriously wrong with you. You no longer qualify to be a human. So these kind of stupid nonsense, there were many Mahatmas who said you have to live by ahimsa. Ahimsa paramo dharma. You see, Mahabharata also repeatedly says ahimsa paramo dharma, but what happened? Finally they had to fight and they fought. Arjuna was on the verge of running away. Now just imagine if instead of Krishna, if Gandhiji was the charioteer of Arjuna, I think Arjuna would have run away from the battlefield, and Draupadi would have become a sex slave of Duryodhana, and Adharma would have continued to reign in our country. So not knowing when to use violence and stupidly insisting on ahimsa is a highway to hell. If you are powerful and you can stop an adharmi, if there is a terrorist who is trying to blow up, kill, murder a rapist, and if you are in a position and you are strong to stop that fellow, stop him. And if necessary, you might have to even kill him, because otherwise he will kill 1,000 people, 10,000 people. So this is practical. For foolishly insisting on ahimsa, I don't have to explain this any further. So in this Candide novel, Voltaire ripped apart all these kind of foolish philosophies. He was a very incisive wit, cutting. And in this, the plot also I will tell you. The title character is actually a very naive young man who grows up in the household of a German baron. This whole thing is a bloody farce, actually, a mockery of everything. Many people who were in power at that time hated Voltaire because he was ridiculing them openly. So this fellow, the title character, he is schooled by his tutor, Dr. Pangloss. Today the word Pangloss means foolishly and excessively optimistic. Panglossian, Pollyanna, 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 Pollyanna-ish, Pangloss, Panglossian, excessively and foolishly optimistic. అన్నీ సర్వనాశనం అయిపోతూ ఉన్నా సరే అంతా మన మంచికే అనేవాడిని Pangloss అనొచ్చు. This Pangloss believes firmly that the world in which we live is the best of all possible worlds. And after the baron banishes Candide from his home, Candide is the hero, is the protagonist in this. Baron banishes this fellow Candide from his home for falling in love with his daughter. So Candide travels throughout Europe, and a ludicrous string of hardships and suffering ensues. And this heroine, or the girl whom he loved, her name is Cunegonde. She sees her family killed by dacoits, hordes of dacoits, and then she is sold into sex slavery. Pangloss contracts syphilis, sexually transmitted disease, and is later hanged. And an earthquake flattens the entire city of Lisbon, Portugal, and Candide himself is repeatedly beaten and flogged and tortured. Nevertheless, both he and his tutor stay faithfully to their stupid and blindly optimistic worldview, believing that everything is for the best. So Candide is a merciless jibe at the philosophies of people like Leibniz and other ahimsa propagators who were renowned for their thoroughgoing optimism. So Voltaire was not necessarily pessimistic, but he felt that these kind of ahimsa beliefs are excessively optimistic and foolish, idle philosophical speculation which ignores the reality of the world. So that is why Krishna is so important. Many fools think that Krishna was responsible for the murder of millions of people in the war. You don't know, you don't read Bhagavatam, you have not studied Mahabharatam, not read Mahabharatam, Harivamsham, Vishnu Puranam, and if you see the efforts that Krishna has made, Krishna respects our cognitive liberty. He is not a dictator like other gods of other religion. So he will never interfere, and he will fight for dharma. He will help you if you are fighting for dharma. So these are the simple things which, instead of understanding that some idiots are even now, there are people who criticize Krishna. So these rascals will anyway go to hell. So ignoring the reality of the world and talking about ahimsa is, I think, a crime. At the end of the novel, Candide has a revelation, and he rejects his guru's Pangloss's teachings, and he becomes a sensible fellow, and he decides and understands and that the best way to achieve fulfillment is in our life to cultivate one's garden. I like that phrase, to cultivate your own garden. Now cultivating your own garden simply means, in other words, to engage in practical pursuits that create tangible benefits and give meaning to your life. So please cultivate your garden. Jai Shri Ram.